Right. So we are recording. We're going. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Jean. We are starting. Okay. Jean says I'm ready. She can hear. So, hey, Lindsay, welcome back. You guys had some really good last minute questions. So thank you for that, because it helps me help you and have some really good things to talk about. So I got a lot of questions from you guys. And Jean actually answered or posted a really good article in the Mastermind Facebook group that I want to talk about today too. But let's start by talking about decluttering. So I think this was your question, Lindsay. She says that, she's trying to declutter the toys. She has so many. They're all over the house. How do I break this down into bite-sized pieces? And I'm going to talk to you guys quick about how to do this. And I'm going to teach you the 5-step method that I added into Clutter-Free Motherhood, because it will help you too. So first thing, Lindsay, I know that you're like, all of the toys are like everywhere around the house. How do I do this without, having to pull everything out and have it in front of me? I'm going to let you know that you can shortcut your way through it and do it some other ways, but you're going to have the most impact and you're going to have the most success if you just kind of like block out some time and gather up everything from the house, kind of Marie Kondo style, and put it all in front of you. I think there's a lot of value in doing that because, first of all, you see how much you actually have, and it makes it easier to let stuff go because it's so in your face of like, oh my gosh, like, why do we have this much stuff? And funny and embarrassing story. We had I think it was the 2-car garage. Maybe it was like, I think it was like a small 2-car garage. Like you could fit 2 small cars in the garage. But when I set up our garage sales for when we were getting ready to leave Alaska, the garage was all toys. Pretty much every single thing in there was toys, other than the stuff that was, okay, bye, Jean. I'm sorry. Pretty much everything in there was toys. And that was really eye-opening to me because I was like, holy crap, like no wonder I could never keep this place clean. No wonder I could ever, I could never have a playroom that was functional for the kids. No wonder they were ankle deep in toys. Like, no wonder it was always spilling out into the living room and into my bedroom and into the bathroom and into the kitchen because there was just so much. So I will give you some tips on how to do this without having to pull them all out from around the house and actually looking at it in one big pile. But I do think that if you really want to do this quickly and efficiently and effectively, do it that way because it will shock your system. It will shock your system. You won't be able to see it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it will really change your perspective. But when it comes to actually breaking down the toy decluttering process, I would do the half it kind of method. And all that means is that you're like taking these categories of stuff that you have, because you mentioned that you had a lot of categories like Hot Wheels, Barbies, whatever else it is that you have. You have so much, you can 100% stand to reduce it by half and still have enough of that kind of a toy. Hang on, I'm going to turn the baby monitor on so that I can see Kaylee. Because I can get that I hear her. But, oh, no, she's asleep. That took her like 2 seconds. Okay, so do it by half. So say, for instance, stuffed animals. Like, you can get all of the stuffed animals from the house, put them in a pile, then you're not getting every single kind of toy from around the house. It's less time, it takes up less space. You can do it a little bit in more bite-sized pieces like we were talking about, but you can get all of those things and then reduce them by half. And Lindsay, I'm not sure the ages of your kids, but if you're including them, if they're at the age that you feel like they need to be included and you want to include them, which I do recommend past like 3 or 4 years old when they're starting to understand like, oh, this stuff is, my stuff. Having them focus on what they keep. So let them know, hey, like we have so many stuffed animals. It's way too much. It's so hard to clean. It's so hard to keep organized. Like our room's always a mess. We can never find our stuff. All the reasons that you want to tell them, whatever. Then tell them, like, I want you to pick out your most favorite ones and we're going to keep them in this pile. And kids really need a physical boundary so that they can see it, because otherwise they're going to be like, I want to keep this one. I want to keep this one. I want to keep this one. But if you can set it up so that like you have all the stuffed animals in one place and you have one bucket, or if you're doing it with Hot Wheels or whatever it is that you're doing, one bucket to keep, one to let go of, then what they know that once that physical boundary is filled, they can't put anything else in it, and they're going to have to start making decisions on what to let go of. But if you can keep it positive like that and really focus on what to keep instead of everything that they have to let go of, it makes the process a lot easier. And actually, Carrie, this was your question. I can't remember. But I hope that helps. Like I said, you can do it all at once, every single kind of toy all at once, and reduce it by half, or do it by category, like you were mentioning, like which one should I do? There's no right or wrong way to do it. I think just the key points are to at least bring them all out at once by category. And if you're feeling really brave, bring just everything all out at once. Everything all at once. Block out, several hours if possible. I know it's not always possible for everybody, just to really focus on this and nail it down. Now, the last thing that I want to let you know that might help you and hopefully will help you is when you pick a physical boundary, when you're going through like focusing on what to keep and what to not keep, start to choose your one location of where you want to keep the toys in the house. Okay, and this is, I'll just tell you guys, you can always take or leave whatever I tell you. Some people don't like doing this. I personally do like doing this. I like having one set place where all of the toys live. Okay, they live inside of the house. So we are lucky in that in this house, we do have an area for a playroom. Okay, yeah. Lindsay says it wasn't mine, but I agree. Bring them all together. Okay, yeah, perfect. I'm pretty sure it was Carrie, but Carrie's here too, so pretty sure it was Carrie. But what was I saying? Oh, I like having all of the toys living in one place of the house. So like I said, right now we are so lucky and blessed to have a house that's big enough that allows us a playroom space. And that's where all of the toys go. That's where they stay. Before we had that, because this is the only house that we've ever had this kind of a space for, they stay in the kids' bedrooms. But within those bedrooms or within the playroom, the bedroom was the physical boundary. The playroom is the physical boundary. But then within that bedroom, I have another physical boundary in the form of either a closet or a bin or shelves, and whatever fits on that, in that boundary, is what they have to keep as far as their toys. So like currently in the playroom, they have the playroom. They have one shelf. It's like a 3-tier open shelf. And that's where they keep art supplies. That's where they keep board games. That's where they keep the Lego bins and the Connects bins. And that's where everything goes. Magnet tiles and things like that. That's where everything goes. That's where it stays. Now, that does not mean that they're only allowed to play in the playhouse in the playroom. I think that's what people get caught up on, is like, I don't want my kid, my kids want to be playing with me. They want to be out in the living room doing stuff with me. And especially when they're little, like they don't want to be alone and I don't trust them to be alone. That's okay, because I let my kids take the stuff out of the room and bring it, if they want to do magnet tiles while we watch a movie together, I don't care. But at the end of the day, when we do our nightly reset, they know that the toys go back to that space, and it helps us keep on top of, first of all, the messes, first of all, or second of all, like everything getting thrown throughout the house. Like if you guys could see, maybe I can turn it around, but currently there's pens, there's stuff in the hallway, there's books everywhere, because that's life with kids, that's being a family. But at the end of the day, and during midday, because we do a midday reset too, I just go put everything back where it goes. Like everywhere has one spot and everything fits into that spot. And when things stop fitting into that space is when I decide to go and do a purge with them. Because there's always stuff coming into the house, which means that there's always stuff going out of the house. And that makes it easy for me to keep up on it, because I'm like, okay, your guys' games and toys don't fit on the shelf anymore. Your guys' stuffed animals don't fit into the stuffed animal bucket anymore, or the Legos are overflowing and don't fit into the bin anymore. So we're going to get rid of some to keep this simple. So the physical boundary, I think, is another really key component of decluttering the toys, and will help you decide like how much you can actually keep and how much you can actually manage. And then after you've decluttered, staying on top of that. So I hope that's helpful. Let's talk about the 5-step process real quick. I'm going to have to open it up real quick on the Thinkific platform, because I know I made it, guys, but my brain is just fried and I want to be able to read it off to you and make sure I'm telling you the right stuff. Okay, because it does work really well. And I know because I've tried it and I've implemented it with some of you guys, especially if you're in the Clutter-Free Motherhood course, which Lindsay, I know you are too. Okay, 5-step rinse and repeat process. So there's a video in there that explains it to you, but I'll give you kind of the short version of it. So first step of breaking this down into bite-sized pieces, hang on, and figuring out how to actually declutter your stuff. So do a surface purge. So a surface purge can mean literally the surfaces, like what's on top of your desk, what's on top of your kitchen counters, what's on top of your nightstands, your bookshelves, your beds, all of the things on the floors and piles. That can be a surface purge. Or you can use it a little less, what do you want to call it? Like practically, less literally. That's the word I'm looking for. Less literally, and use it as kind of like a clean sweep. So in regards to toys, you could do a surface purge and be like, I'm going to go through the house and get rid of all the toys on the surfaces, but you probably don't have a whole ton. But it can also mean like going through the playroom and the bedroom and grabbing a trash bag or whatever it is that you need to put stuff in, and getting rid of the things that are broken, the games that are missing pieces. That honestly, guys, like this is just the hard truth about it. It's not worth your time and effort and energy to go through and find all of the missing pieces. Those kinds of toys that were purchased or given to you and have never been played with. They've just been thrown around and tossed around and been around you, but not really played with. That could be, less of a literal surface purge. Just like making really fast and quick decisions on what stays and what goes. Especially if you have so much stuff throughout the entire house. This can be really helpful because you get rid of a good chunk of it, and then you can kind of start categorizing it a little bit better, or maybe feel like you could get everything from the entire house into one space to give yourself that really dramatic experience of seeing it all in front of you. So that's step 1. Step 2 is to write down and just do a quick inventory of what you have. And just like pulling everything out and seeing it in front of you is very shocking and kind of dramatic. Writing down everything that you have is also very dramatic and very shocking. And I think that if I even wrote down like how much stuff that we have and how many toys we have and how many kinds of toys we have, like I would be pretty shocked by it. It's not overwhelming to me by any means, but doing that quick inventory just gives you another way to kind of realize like, okay, so there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not a bad housekeeper. I'm not failing at organization. I'm not failing at this whole like mom thing. I'm really just trying to manage too much stuff. So it's just a way to kind of give yourself an easy, practical, okay, I'm not the problem here. The stuff is the problem, and get you a little bit more motivated to finally let it go. Hey, Janelle, we are talking about decluttering. And we're in the 5-step rinse and repeat process on step 3, but you'll be able to watch the replay and hear it all. It's really good, and I think it's going to be really helpful for you and where you're at with your stuff right now. Okay, so step 3 of that is, after you've done the surface purge, after you've seen written down and very in your face way of what you have, it's time to start making quick decisions. And the easiest way to do that is to just make 2 piles, a keep pile and a don't keep pile. And you've been in this course, you've done enough thinking, you've done enough analyzing that this is your time to just decide. This is your time to make a decision. This is your time to let this stuff go once and for all. Okay. Once and for all. Keep, don't keep. And you can donate it. I don't recommend for step number 3 making a sell pile because it's going to slow you down. Step number 3 is all about quick decisions. It's a donate pile or a trash pile. And then later on down the road, you can, in your own back of your mind, keep the things that are easy to sell, keep those separate. But for now, keep, don't keep, and then get rid of the don't keep pile as soon as possible. Okay, so step 4 is assimilation. And all this means is that steps 1, 2, and 3 were very intensive. They required a lot of effort and energy, both physical and emotional from you. Now is your chance in step 4 to sit back a little bit and reap the benefits of what you've just done. Enjoy it. Enjoy the cleared space. Enjoy the simplified toys. Enjoy your kids enjoying the toys, right? And take some time to just see how it's working for your family. See the benefits, live in it for a little while, see what is still left and maybe needs to go on the next time that you do this cycle because you're going to do it more than once. And just live in it for a little bit. Just take a step and relax, because that's a really important part of this process too. It's like we cannot go nonstop, no breaks, and be okay. You're going to get burnt out. You're going to get discouraged, and you're going to fall off the wagon. Make sure that you are actually doing number 4 and giving yourself like 2 or 3 weeks to just enjoy what you've done. Enjoy it. Okay. So step number 5, say you do this for the toys, right? You did step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 4, you took 2 or 3 weeks and you're noticing that the kids are playing better, helping more, cleaning up on their own better. And now you've noticed that maybe, the things that you wanted to see if they still like to play with, or the things that you weren't quite ready to let go of, or the things that you wanted to keep in a toy rotation. You're like, okay, I've seen what it's like. I think I'm ready to let a little bit more go. Do steps 1 through 3 again. Okay. Or step 4. If you feel like you're at a good amount, you're like, okay, this is it. Like, I can't get rid of anything else. I don't want to. Like, we have the space. It's working well for everybody. Move on to step number 6, which is organization. And kind of just finding the final pieces of your flow in your home. Yesterday, I did a podcast episode with Ashley Strong. Hey, Danielle. All about organization. And it was helpful. I will let you guys know that her and I, we just have to coordinate our schedules for when we're both free. We are going to be doing a workshop together with all of her best organizational tips for when you get to this point, because her and I are on the same page that you have to declutter first before you start organizing. And I've been pretty open with you guys that organization isn't my strong point. Like, I can do it for my own house. I'm not great at like seeing other people's spaces and knowing their flows and their days, and helping them make it work for them. That is what she's good at. She's like, I love looking at people's spaces and helping them piece it together and make it work for them. So we will be recording an organizational workshop. I'm going to put it into both of my big courses as a bonus. So you guys will get it because you're in this course. And then if you're in Clutter-Free Motherhood, you'll get it in that course as well. And then like she has her own courses that she does on organization. So I think we'll work it out too, so that if you ever want to go deep and do a course with her, which would probably be the next step from me, that's kind of our idea, is like she's the next step from me and I'm her, like I am the first step for her people. She is the second step for my people. And we want to come together so that you guys can get that, you know, at a discount, or I don't know how exactly it'll work, but you guys will get the workshop, and the workshop is going to be really good. So step 6 is organization. Now that was decluttering. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Like I said, this course is not really 100% dedicated to decluttering, but it is a really big part of it. And it is where like Jean started and Danielle started. Actually, I think is where most moms start, but those moms specifically, because they've been in this for like over a year, doing this over a year, guys. Okay. Let me get a drink. Now, the next question that a couple of you guys had, Sarah asked it, somebody else, oh, it was Jean, I think it was Jean and Sarah who are working on this portion of the course, which is the figuring out you outside of your role as a mom. So Sarah said that she's asking herself these questions, and she's like, I just have no idea what gives me joy. I don't know what motivates you. I only know what hasn't motivated me in the past. And I'm going to kind of explain what this process has looked like for me, and how I think it evolves. And Jean posted a really good article this morning in the Motherhood Simplified, in the mastermind group that we're in for this course specifically. It was really good. The author of the article just broke it down very well. And it is basically, it's exactly what I did and how I did this process. The steps that she took were the steps that I took. The things that she did were things that I did. And I've laid it out for you in this course, similarly to what she says. And I just like the way that she worded it. So I am going to talk to you guys about the way that she worded it today and just give you some kind of like real life examples. But I want to let you guys know first that this portion of the course, the figuring out you outside of your role as a mom, is going to be the deepest work that you do. It's going to be the hardest work that you do. And you have to take it one step at a time. In my personal, very strong opinion about this, especially because it's the way that I did it, is to, before you can start adding these things in of like, who am I? What do I like to do? What do I want to do? You have to let things go. You have to let things go. You have to get relief in your day-to-day life. Most of us, when we start this, are so overwhelmed by our day-to-day life, the laundry, dishes, toys, the cleaning, the careers, the managing the kids. Like, you guys know, I believe that decluttering is the simplest and fastest way to get yourself that relief. So you're really going to have to focus first on letting things go. Letting things go, decluttering your home, open up that time and energy and space to get to where you can actually have room to do what you have to do to figure this out. Does that make sense? So I want to use Jean as an example of this, just because she had posted the article. And I know that she joined this round of group coaching specifically for this reason, because she wants to start focusing on herself. But Jean started this a year ago with me. She found Motherhood Simplified somehow, some way. I think maybe it was Pinterest. I'm not exactly sure. But she started with decluttering. She started with 7 Days to an Uncluttered Home, and then she got Clutter-Free Motherhood, and then she got into this course. And back when I had the master classes, she was in the master classes, and she was really working hard to clear out her home and start to give herself that space, which is exactly what I did, and I wasn't doing it on purpose when I did this. We moved from Alaska to Florida, and I just stumbled into it and was like, oh my gosh, that was why it was, I got rid of all my daily burdens and was able to focus on these bigger ones. It's how Danielle did it. It's how all of these moms here in Motherhood Simplified have done it, is they started with decluttering. And then they start to be able to, and I know this sounds weird, but once you do that, you kind of feel like this like naked and exposed version of yourself of like, oh, like I'm kind of bored. What would I like to do with my time? Or you can kind of see yourself in a different light of like, what am I even doing with my life? What would I want to do? Not Lindsay, who's listening in, but Lindsay Camp. She did that. She did the same thing. She got into 7 Days to an Uncluttered Home, the master classes, the rest of the courses. And over the past year, Danielle's iPhone. Over the past year, has started to have more time and energy for her stuff now. And if you guys know her, she's really into pole fitness. She has become a pole fitness instructor. She has decided to let go of like some volunteering opportunities that she does locally. She let go of those because she's like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's not fun to me anymore. It feels like a burden. And she actually sent me a message just a few days ago of like, I really don't want to do this anymore, but I feel bad. Tell me it's okay to let it go, because she wants to focus on, she's starting her own podcast, and she's focusing more on doing her pole fitness classes and, building a clientele that way. And it all starts with like getting rid of your daily burdens and then asking yourself these bigger questions over time, which is exactly where like Jean is at. And Danielle, based on some of the things that you've posted in the group, I feel like that's where you're at too, especially with like making big career decisions. Like, what do I actually want to do? Right? What do I actually want to do? So in the article that Jean shared, the lady calls it burning off that dead wood, right? Burning off the dead wood, getting rid of it, letting go of all of the things that are bogging you down so that you can actually, catch on fire again, right? Right, Danielle? The Alaska girls and us are really good at building fires. And you have to move off the dead wood, and then all of a sudden, big new fire comes, right? But I want to tell you guys a story about what this actually looked like for me when I finally got to the point where I could start like shedding these really big pieces of my identity that were really scary to let go of. So got to Florida, decluttered our stuff. I was like, wow, this is great. I love it. I love working. I love being a teacher. Again, because I was kind of to the point where I was kind of burnt out, and I was like, maybe I just didn't like teaching because everything else was so overwhelming. I was teaching for like a year in Florida, and then I got back to that really bad place of like, I hate teaching. I do not enjoy teaching. I don't want to do this. And that was for me really scary because it was the only professional job I had ever had. I got my bachelor's degree in child development, and then I'm one class away from having my master's degree in teaching and learning. And like, that was who I was. I took a lot of pride in that. I was like, I'm a teacher, I've got my Montessori training. Like, I've invested all of this time and money and education and learning how to be a really great teacher. I'm proud of that. I was always kind of like a renegade teacher who was like, I don't want to do public school. Like, I want to do Montessori and Reggio. And it was a really big piece of my identity. And because I had put so much time and effort into it, I felt like I had to keep it. I felt like I, I couldn't let it go. Um, and I remember one day, actually, there's two really clear moments in my mind of when I realized that I needed to let go of my role as a teacher. So I came home one day and I was telling James about my day, and I started off my sentence by saying I was sitting there blowing bubbles. Okay. And he just started laughing at me. He just was like he thought that was so funny because I was like frustrated and pretty mad and was like I was blowing bubbles. And he was like we have such different lives. Like I would never be just like sitting there blowing bubbles. But I realized like in that moment I was so annoyed. I was like, I don't want to be I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, I don't want my conversations to be centered around Play-Doh and bubbles and changing diapers and dealing with complicated parents and rules and regulations. Like that was just like a really clear indicator to me of like, okay, like I really don't like this. Like not only do I not like this, but this is like crushing my soul to continue on with this. And I realized that I needed to start coming up with something else for me to do. And this came up in the conversations. I think it was Colette who was talking about this. Like, what do you do when you're stuck, doing a job that you really don't want to be doing and you're feeling really resentful for it? Like, that was my turning point for me. And that was when I really started like intentionally thinking about other options that I could have, doing other alternatives. It's when I started exploring blogging, network marketing. I even explored like working with my husband and doing like Aflac stuff with him. And I did that for a little bit. But it just kind of lit a fire under me. And then a second really clear moment when I realized that I was going to have to do something drastic and I was going to have to let go of my identity as a teacher, was one of the teachers at the school that I worked at. We had a party for her celebrating 40 years of teaching at the same school. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that can't be me. Like I could not have the same job at the same school and the same classroom every single day for 40 years in a row. Like I need to start figuring something else out, because if this is what my future looks like in 10 years, I'm going to hate my life. If it looks like my future, and if my future looks like this in 5 years, I'm going to hate my life. And that was probably the hardest piece of my identity that I ever had to let go. Like I said, I invested all of my adult professional career into being a really great teacher. That's what people knew me for. And I still, to this day, get messages from teachers who I've worked with in the past, being like, hey, can you help me out with this? Like, can you give me some ideas? And I have to often be like, nicely, no, I can't. I can't, because I haven't done it in so long. And I really just, it sucks the life out of me. It sucks the life out of me to put myself back in that type of role. I didn't enjoy it. The parts of it, now I want to let you guys know this too. There were a lot of parts of teaching that I did enjoy, that looking back, I can understand a little bit better now. And that was teaching the teachers. I was a good teacher, I think. But what I really thrived at was teaching the teachers and getting to know them and coaching them and asking them questions, very similarly to what I do with you guys in here. Is like I teach you guys how to do all of this stuff, and I love it because now I get to teach moms who, essentially are teachers. I really do love the act of teaching. I just don't enjoy it in a classroom with 23-year-olds. I just don't. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope that it might, encourage you to make some hard decisions and realize that it's okay to let parts of your identity go, even if they've been a huge piece of you for a really long time. But once you let those pieces go, like once I quit teaching, I was so relieved and so excited to actually try new things. So that's the next part of this. You know, when like I said, these are big questions to ask yourself, but come back to this recording when you're ready for it. But the last piece of this puzzle is that taking action breeds clarity and it breeds confidence. So once I finally like quit my teaching job, stopped teaching, and was like, I'm never going to teach again, I had all of this room to breathe. And that's when I really started taking action and doing the things that I needed to do to figure this out. So, you know, I started 3 blogs that failed before I started this. I did network marketing. I tried to become a doula. I considered going back to school to become a nurse and then a midwife. I helped my husband with his business and explored branching off into my own and doing kind of what he did, but just with my own team. Because I was like, maybe I don't want to be your support person. Maybe I want to build my own team and you build your team, right? That never happened. But, you know, it was a consideration, and I took the steps I needed to start figuring out if that was the right decision or not. And eventually, after taking so much action toward it, I realized it wasn't the right thing. But action breeds clarity and confidence. So it's just a matter of just trying things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable, feel weird. You're going to look back and be really embarrassed by, like, I'm pretty embarrassed that nothing against network marketing, but, you know, pretty embarrassed that I tried so hard at it and failed miserably at it. But anyway, I hope that helps you guys with the figuring out you outside of your role as a mom. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, this was from Bethany, and she was talking about morning routines. So she's like, I'm just not a morning person. I never have been my entire life, and I get it. I am not a morning person either, but I do have some tips to help make it easier for you if this is something that you really feel like will benefit you and something that you want to do. So while I am not a natural morning person, I have done it enough to know that the benefits of doing it are worth it to me. They are worth it to me. So I will continue based on whatever season of life I'm in. And if it's not going to, you know, make me hate my life, because there are certain seasons of life where it's just not worth it. But read the book, The Miracle Morning, by Hal Elrod, because his system is just so, like, it can't be beat. It's so simple and to the point. And he specifically talks about the people who aren't morning people and have never been morning people and how they've made it work for them. And it was very helpful to me. Like, I'll never recommend a book to you guys that I think is junk and not helpful. That book is one that I've read 2.5 times through now. It's really good. It does help you if you do want to make this morning thing work for you. Now, and one of the things that Bethany did say is that she has, you know, she's kind of in a season of life where she likes being able to snuggle with her kids before they start their day. That's okay. Like, that can be, if that's what makes your morning start off right and well and good for you, do that. That's enough. It's not like you have to be doing all of these things that I do or that other people do in the morning in order to start your day off right. If how you're starting your day off right is working for you, don't change it. Don't change it. But like I said, if you do want to change it, if you're like, I really need this in my life, get that book, The Miracle Morning. Totally worth it. And it will help you. But the last thing that I want to say is that there's a mom in here, or not in this round, but she's in the mastermind group, and she's been doing this with us since the very beginning, day 1 too, Crystal McInnes. She is a night owl, and she always has been. And she does her, you know, the type of morning routine that I do and that I tell you guys about in this course at night. And that works for her. And I think that's totally fine and okay too. Like, I think the point of the morning routine, like I said, most people prefer it in the morning because it starts their day off right. But there have also been seasons of my life, especially while like breastfeeding and nursing, that I do it at night. And I do like it. I do like it because then I'm going to bed and I'm thinking about all these good things. And I do think that gets into like your subconscious mind and makes you wake up happier and more able to take on your day. So, you know, if you are one of those people who just is a night person, that's okay. Be a night person. Just make sure that some regular time of day, you are carving out time to do these things for yourself. And for me, it's just easier to do it first thing in the morning because the day will carry me away. And then by the end of the day, I am tired and I don't want to do it because I'm not a night person. And that's just how it works best for me. So I hope that's helpful for you, Bethany. Now, unless you guys put in some very last minute questions, I have one more thing to cover with you. And then we'll hang up. And then I'll send you one final email for tomorrow. But I want to talk to you about how to stick with this course on your own time and to know that you're going to get most of the work of this course done after these 2 weeks. Okay. So these 2 weeks are really designed to get you acquainted with the course, show you what's inside of it. I'm going to sneeze, I think. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's gone. But it's a crash course. Like these 2 weeks go fast and we didn't even cover all of the content in the course. In the past group coaching sessions, I have done it that way and it's just way too much. I think it's way too much. People, they get overwhelmed. And I know that the pace that we took for this 2 weeks with you guys and the amount of stuff that we covered is a lot and it's likely overwhelming. But we have a few moms in here who have done the course before, started a year ago and are doing it again. And for you new moms in this course, I want that to encourage you to know that this course is something that you do over a long period of time. You do it in layers. You're probably going to do parts of it multiple times. You are going to probably go months at a time without even thinking about it until you get to a point where you're like, oh my God, I need some help. And then you dive back into it. Like, that's okay. That was my vision for this to begin with, is something that is structured enough to give you the guidance that you need, that we can do it together like this, and it can be really impactful. And then when you need it, it's there for you to go back to it again. So I just want to leave you guys with that. Like, use this course when you need it. Use it how you need it. When you forget about it, we can remind you that you have it, right? And get back into your course. It's going to help you. There's so many times where I see moms who are in this course, like posting things into the big Motherhood Simplified group of like, how do I get on a consistent routine? I'm like, hey girl, get into your course. And they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I totally forgot. Or, or whatever it is that's coming up for them. Like, get into your course. It will give you the refresher that you're needing. They're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. So anyway, I'm going to repeat because I've been talking for a long time, but use it when you need it. Have it here. You have it forever, literally until your kids are out of the house. I can't say for sure because my kids aren't out of the house yet, but I created this course and I feel like it's something that I will continue to use until my kids are gone, and I will continue to add to it. Because I'm always continually learning more and more, and I want to make sure that it's valuable for you too. So that is it. That is it for our coaching call. If you guys have follow-up questions, the group coaching technically continues until Monday, as far as like email correspondence and that kind of stuff. So for those of you watching the replay of this video, come back with questions or whatever, I'll answer them via your emails. And of course, don't think that like Monday comes and I'm just going to ghost you. Whenever you have questions or things come up, you guys know where to find me. I think that's it. Last thing too, I started this a few months ago, but because you are in this course, I have an affiliate program, which means that if you refer a friend, I'll give you a 20% commission of the sale. I don't know if any of you guys, I know some of you guys know it, but so say you're like, oh my gosh, my friend really needs this. I've been talking to her. She wants to sign up for Motherhood Simplified. Let me know. And if she signs up, then I'll give you 20% of, whatever 111 is, $22. I can't do math too well. But for whatever courses you are enrolled in, you are eligible to be an affiliate and get some money in your pocket that way. And then what was the other thing? There's one more thing I was going to tell you guys. I can't remember. So I'll post it in the group when I remember. But thanks for being here, guys, and I will see you all around. Bye.